Hey guys, it's me, I41, and today we're taking a look at D2 Oluns 2, the best grinding spot for groups in the game, and we're going to take quite an in-depth look at it, taking a look at what you need for it, what you should do, what you should watch out for, and how it works in general. So if you want to find out how D2 Oluns 2 works, just watch this video, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, or just tell me what you think. But if you enjoyed this video, why not join my Discord, which is linked in the description. Not only can you hang out with me, but if you want to, you can also join my guild and play with me, not only PvE content like this, but also PvP content. We're doing Guild League right now, and we're also getting into T1. And we're also getting into Node Wars, so if you're up for that, just click the link in the description. Anyway, on with the video. The first thing that you have to know before you watch this video is you will need to iframe a lot. If you do not like iframing, this spot is most likely not gonna be something for you because most of the mechanics cannot be simply tanked, unless you have very good gear. But with that out of the way, the first important thing you need to know is how to find spots like this. So if you turn around, this is a tower and this is a Dekia tower. If you have a Dekia 2 lantern like me, you can activate the tower and simply start grinding here. You will need a Dekia 2 lantern for this, and you can craft it just like it is shown here under how to craft. You just need the tier 1 Dekia lantern and 300 Dekias lined. It's pretty cheap, it's pretty simple, and you're not gonna struggle with that, right? It's easy. But what you're gonna struggle more with, because I struggle with it, is where are those towers? There is a few towers here, I found no map for it, so I decided I'm going to make my own map. I'm gonna show you where those towers are. This tower right here is a good tower because it is an open area. You don't really can get stuck on a lot of things except this rock right here. And it's a nice spot. However, this spot right here, for example, is quite a bit harder to find as you have to go up those stairs here, go up here, and there will be another tower here. This is a second spot and it's actually quite alright because at least it is a bit hidden and it is also still in the open with not a lot of stuff you could get stuck on. But this spot right here has cost me more microlots than anything else because it is, yes, it is a spot. It is quite often actually taken because most people don't know about the other two spots that I just showed, as well as a third one which will be on the map. But this one right here, the fourth spot, is total dog water because it's in the middle of water, you half the time don't see the AoE and it's a fucking pain in the ass. Getting to how the spot works in itself, it is pretty simple. It has two phases, small golems that will drop the vast majority of your loot, and a big golem that works as a cock block stopping you from getting your loot. But at least that one can drop you the merchant ring piece if you are after it. However, the small ones do not drop the merchant ring piece, so that is also kinda important, as normal Oluns will be a lot more likely to drop you the merchant piece than Dekia 2 Oluns. However, this big golem is a single reason why your trash loot per hour will either be high or low. The more time you spend on the golem, the less time you spend actually making money. This golem also has a lot of one-shot skills that you need to dodge. DP can help, but you will still die. We have someone with 793 gear score who still dies to it if he simply stands in the AoE. HP can help too, but like I said, your best defense is simply killing the golem before it does any wacky skills. I was actually specifically asked by Ashai to not show this footage considering she died here, but I think this is actually a prime example of you should dodge, do not rely on your tank, because it will one-shoot you anyway. And I think this is showing it quite nicely right here. She lost nothing, but it's important to consider. To run Dekia 2 Oluns, you will actually need quite a bit of gear, and the gear you see right here is basically borderline not enough for it. You need at least 320 AP, and you should have at least 410 DP to even consider going there. The more AP you have, the better. The more DP you have, the less likely you die because of a silly accident. Nighttime can be a death sentence, but gear's kinda key here. If your gear's bad, you're gonna take longer on the big golem, which is gonna reduce your income per hour. But we will talk about that more in detail. But generally, if you have 320 AP or more and your group is decently good at it, it shouldn't be a problem. Another thing you can do to make it quite a bit easier is having a good composition. Good compositions mean stuff like you have at a minimum a Shy, a Witch can give you another AP buff to your group, and if you have a Dosa, you can get even more AP buffs. So if you have those three, you should be basically the meta comp. But don't let yourself get actually distracted by this. For example, my group ran it specifically with a Shy, me as a Mango in Awakening, and a Deadeye. Deadeye has pretty big AoE skills, which was really helpful with simply killing all of the small mobs, which means more money. So that also let us hit about 9k trash per hour. The absolute minimum you should be aiming for when it comes to trash per hour is 7,000 trash. If you make less, you're simply better off running normal Oluns. Running Dekia 1 Oluns is really bad. Don't do that. I'm giving you a serious tip here. but normal Oluns is actually a valid alternative. But if you pull more than 7,000 trash and you don't die all the time, you should be fine. Because if you're worried of dying and you're worried that your crystals will break, there's one important thing to remember. When you die, items in your equipment will explode in the following order. You will lose trade goods first, which includes fish. You will then start losing your crystals, and if you have negative karma, you will also lose your gear. That is important to consider. And generally this means if you're not negative karma, you should be fine by simply having fish in your inventory, and your crystals should at least half the time not break. It is not a 100% guarantee, but it is at least helpful. It is also important to consider, which I had to learn pretty painfully, that if you have low karma, you will lose multiple crystals. But getting back to the topic of gear requirements, you should check your AP. You should check your total AP via either garmove.com or via the in-game monster zone info. If you do not hit 1100 AP in total, your AP will be too low. However, unlike other people, I don't want to tell you not to run the spot. Running group spots is very fun, and if you can run it and you still pull more than 7,000 trash, you should be fine. But you have to remember that the spot works the following. You spend 4 minutes on small golems after you kill the big golem. When the big golem spawns, you have to kill him. The faster you do it, the better. If you spend 30 seconds to kill the golem, you have 4 minutes after on the small golems. But if you need 30 seconds more, well, it isn't the end of the world. But if you need to spend 5 minutes to kill the golem, you should consider simply running normal Oluns, because spending more than half your time just going after a single monster while not getting loot is not really worth it, especially since all the time that is alive, it can one-shot you. But talking about the things that you should use for actually running the spot, let's talk about buffs. The first thing you will need is a D2 Lantern to actually run the spot, like mentioned earlier. The next thing you will need is a Kama Sylph Drought, a perfume, like Perfume of Courage or Elixir of Deep Sea, but I use Perfume of Courage preferably. You also will need a Simple Crown Meal, Church buffs, Tent buff. You will then need, you can use or should use a Crocodile Horse buff, or if you have multiple armors, use all of them, simply to get more AP, more DP, because the cap is unreachable basically anyway. And then on top of all of that, we're still not done. Also, don't forget to use a house buff. It is those hats right here. They give you a 3-hour AP buff. They look like this, and you simply use them from your house. If you have them in your guild manor, even better, your guild is providing it for you. But if you have all of those buffs, you should be pretty good. But there's one important thing you should not forget. Most of the things in the spot will one-shot you, so you will also need a brain and will need to be able to dodge them. But with that, we got the buffs out of the way, so let's discuss how to run the spot. On how to run the spot efficiently, we will discuss the following things: the small golems, the menacing heart that can spawn, and the big golem and how to kill it. Let's first get started on the small golems. The small golems are pretty simple. Just make sure you pull them together and simply AoE them. They are no real danger, but they can knock you down. If you get knocked down and go low, which can happen if you're very unlucky, simply V out of it and then go back to hitting them. But in general, as long as you simply back attack them and pull them together, you should be fine. When it comes to the menacing heart, you will every minute roughly get a notification that a menacing heart has appeared. This is simply an anti-AFK mechanic. Group up on it, kill it, and then kill the small golems that move to it as well. But be careful with the heart, because if the heart actually charges up and does its purple AoE damage, it will one-shot you. So if that happens, simply dodge it when the attack happens. It will also spawn alongside the big golem. When the big golem spawns, the heart has always priority. Simply kill the heart first and then move on to the big golem's arm. Talking about the big golem, when it comes to the big golem, all you have to do is kill the arm with back attacks. If he pulls the arm back before you kill it, he will do a lot of annoying AoE attacks that prevent you from attacking him. But as long as you have big AoE, by simply back attacking the golem, you should be able to kill both the arm and do damage with the golem before he gets out of his arm phase. Also remember, all of the red circles are basically a death wish. After this, he will do annoying AoEs, simply keep dodging them as he is more or less not really damageable unless you want to die. And once he is out of his AoEs, he will simply start stepping forward. When he steps forward, he will do an AoE attack where he steps, and he will also do an AoE attack, a second one left and right of this with a shockwave. You will physically see the shockwave, so just basically stay behind the golem. When he does a big slam attack with an outer red circle and an inner red circle where he slams, don't go into the outer red circle. The outer red circle is a one-shot mechanic. The inner red circle will do a lot of damage, but it will, most of the time at least, as long as you have decent DP, not kill you. But best case, just dodge both or forward guard it. With the general premise out of the way, let's discuss the only difficult thing: how to kill the golem effectively. First, kill the menacing heart. Second, back attack the golem with the AoE to kill the arm. If you see an AoE happening, simply dodge it, unless you kill the arm before it happens. If the arm is not dead after the AoE, make sure you focus the arm so it dies before he pulls it back. If you can't kill it via back attacks, just focus the arm. It's very simple. After the arm is dead, he will do AoEs that will last for about 5 seconds and that are super annoying. Once he finished those, you can basically Misty him immediately, hit your E buff, hit your Z buff, and DPS the golem. He will now just keep stepping, which is pretty easy to dodge, and you can just back attack him. If it is perfect, you will kill the golem before he stops stomping. You can also Misty the arm directly after you kill the heart, but this is only an option if you actually have very good AP. Otherwise, you just waste a lot of time with AoE attacks happening that might kill you, iframes that he's doing that don't allow you to damage him, and it's just generally very annoying. So if you can't kill him in like 10 seconds, just simply do it like I explained earlier, and just do it after the first big AoE spam he's doing. If you finished it, just go back to killing the small mobs. But if you didn't kill him in a single Misty, well, here we are. A lot of people will tell you simply leave it, or at least I saw someone say simply leave it. But if he is under 30% HP, you should actually be pretty much okay, because it will just take another 30 seconds or so to kill him. But if you used up all your buffs and didn't get him under 30% and also did your combos properly, or worse, he's even still above 50%, you will take forever to kill him, and it is simply most likely not worth it to you. I don't want to stop you, but I just want to warn you that the more time you spend on the big golem, the more likely he will kill you, and it can get very frustrating. So that is important to consider here. But generally, if you don't want to die, and you can die here quite easily, just either iframe or forward guard every single big AoE that he's doing. If your class doesn't have a lot of iframes, it might make it actually significantly harder, but there's still the option to simply walk out of the red circle until it's done. But let's talk loot. Let's see what we actually get from this. I did D2 Oluns for the past 4 days and simply stockpiled my loot, and you can see it right here. I got a lot of trash loot, I got a lot of crystals, I got a bit of loot from normal Oluns for doing 1 hour there, and I also got myself a bit of double rings from limbos that dropped, as well as a few double earrings, which are simple rare drops there. I, for unknown reasons, dropped a lot more limbos than I dropped double earrings, but I shouldn't really complain about that. But in general, this spot is gonna make you pretty good money. You can run it with friends. It's very consistent in the amount of money you get, as the trash loot makes up about half of the money that you get. You then also get money from Kafras, you get money from crystals and D2 fragments, which all drop relatively reliable, although don't even try selling crystal precise destruction. It's just gonna take a long time. You can try it, but it's gonna take a long time. Those are the ones that drop the most, and as you can see here, crystals like those are more of a rarity. You can also drop the full D2 fragment, and the full D2 fragment is worth 10 billion, but if you need a D2 artifact to run, for example, PvP artifacts, this is a source where you get it from. And if you get the full one, even better for you. So I'm not actually gonna sell the D2 fragments for myself, as I need them still. But this is the loot. So what about the spot in general? Getting back to the spot in general, it's a nice spot. It's easier than D2 Oluns 1. It is my favorite group spot in the game. You don't have to move, and I can personally sit down there and run it for 5 hours in a row, even without really feeling tired. So that is one of the benefits. It's a chill spot as long as you iframe. It's not gonna be painful. But you can die, and you can die easily if you do not iframe, if you do not dodge the big golem's AoE, or you simply take too long to kill him, and you eventually simply, bad things happen, you know? Bad things simply happen. But all in all, if you keep in mind everything that I explained here, you shouldn't struggle that much. And tell me in the comments what you think about your experience here. But while normally at this point I would now end the video, today is not such an occasion, because this time I actually need to ask you guys for help. I have a friend who's in heavy need of support, and I wanted to run a fundraiser for him. So if you're up for helping and you want to help, I left a donation link in the video description. If you do, maybe also write a comment that you did. It would make me very happy. But please remember to donate via the link below, because the money is kinda urgent. So if you want to help, please do that. I hope this is the only time I ever have to do this. But if you do, I'd be very thankful, and he'd be very thankful, and I'll also make sure that he will say thank you on Discord as well, so if you want to see him or talk to him, yeah, you can also do that as well. But I hope you're otherwise having a phenomenal day, and you had a lot of fun with the video, and if you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and check out my other videos and my streams on Twitch. My Twitch is also in the description, and I hope to see you guys next time. So, see you guys next time.